Hello and welcome to the CDR Tier 1 Round 3. Takes us to the Hungaroring outside the Hungarian capital of Budapest for the Hungarian Grand Prix. I am Tom Cairns in the commentary box, and we await for the first part of qualifying to begin, where we will lose the slowest 5 drivers before the rest advance to Q2. After qualifying, it will be a 35-lap race. So at the timing of recording, or the beginning of the broadcast, we should be done by just before 10:30 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. There are a few reserve drivers being called in for tonight. We'll run through them in a moment. But just a quick rundown on what happened last week. It was Droftus who came through to win after starting the race on the hard compound tyre, starting 12th on the grid to fight his way up to the front. And on the mediums, on his last stint, helped him progress past Rabico and Hamster to take victory for the first time this season, which has given him a chance in the championship, going toe-to-toe with Rabico. Hopefully there'll be more drivers in the hunt for a race victory and in the championship later on in the season. But in the meantime, qualifying does get underway. We'll go to Flick, so I think he's out on the circuit now in the Alpine. There he is. So a run through on the reserves who have been called in for this week. We begin with AlphaTauri, as the reigning champion, Scotty, is not around this evening. He is replaced by Simps, who substituted for Weatherman Harry at Zandvoort a fortnight ago. At Williams, Red Dog is not around, so in place of him is Irish Gary. And finally at Aston Martin, Weatherman Harry not around for the 3rd week running. He is replaced by the Extremist. And also Michael has been called in place of, I'm just trying to see who's replacing this evening. This is not in place of Noodles, so it has to be Colin who's not around, which is a shame. So Michael in place. It's some time actually since we last seen him racing the CDR. I could well be wrong. But he's got his chance back in the seats as a reserve for tonight. So 4 reserve drivers called in for this evening. We watch Flicks go through with the DRS open. Probably turned in a bit too early into the last corner, hence why he went that far out wide onto the curbs. Into turn 1, nicely done. There are 14 corners on this racetrack, 6 to the left, 8 to the right. Approximately 4.4 kilometres is the Hungaroring that first hosted a Formula 1 race back in 1986 and has hosted a Grand Prix in every year since then. And to my understanding, it is set to sign a contract to continue hosting Formula 1 through 2037. So by the time we get round to that year, it will be the 52nd running of a Formula World Championship event. It's a nice flowing racetrack, I have to say, is the Hungaroring. It may not be the best racetrack for overtaking, but it can most certainly put on the show. It definitely put on the show this season in the mixed conditions, which ultimately Esteban Ocon came out as the race winner. For Alpine, well, it's most certainly not going to be Flicks today unless he stops spinning like he has done that. And can he get the car going? He can get going. He'll post the first time on the board, but it's nowhere near representative. So Callum goes fastest then in the Aston Martin with 1:16.6. We're just looking to see who else is on a fast lap. Jaihu is coming over the line for Haas. He goes top with a 1:16.1. And the next one to go over the line behind will be the other Haas of Big Boy, 1:16.8. Goes third quickest for now. And the next man behind will be Calvin, who's on an outlap. So we'll go to Noodles next. He's going through Sector 2, 54.4 by this stage, which is not the quickest by any means. We should be in the 53s, I would say. If you're thinking about wanting to go fastest. Let's see how he does in the last sector here, as he approaches the start-finish line. And he goes to P2 with a 1:16.4. There's a Ferrari behind as well. That will be No Fun Dangle going through. Sims goes top with a 1:15.7. It's a nice lap from him there. Sims, who had a torrid time in Zandvoort as a reserve, hoping for better luck here tonight. Bruges has started the flying lap. Calvin also on a fast lap. There is Sinix, who is the only driver to not finish out of all 20 drivers in the Chinese Grand Prix a week ago, whilst he was battling for the race lead with Rabico, I believe, if my memory serves me correctly. He goes third quickest so far with a 1:16.1. So Jaihu in an AlphaTauri sandwich at the present moment. Here is Calvin. He's gone past Sector 2. I would expect him to be in the running for pole position later on. He's coming through the 14th and final turn. DRS is open on the Red Bull, and he posts a 1:16 dead. Nailed it there to the exact thousandth of a second, the nearest thousandth of a second. So Calvin goes up to P2 as No Van Dangle displaces him with 1:15.7 in the Ferrari. There's Gary, hoping to impress. The Extremist hoping to impress as well. MDG has only gone 9th on a 1:17.0, so he'll be needing to go quicker than that if he is to get through to Q2. Flix is also out on the racetrack. He's gone through Sector 2, he's a quarter of a second up by this stage. He's continuing on to complete the lap. Hopefully he'll get through it this time without touching the curve, which sent that car into a spin. He goes over the line. He's run out of fuel, actually. He gets a better time on the board anyhow, but he's definitely lost time because of the loss of fuel. Here is the Extremist in the Aston Martin, 1:16.6. Goes in front of Flix with an identical lap time. He should be behind him because he set that time after the Alpine, but he is ahead of him according to the game. Gary in the Williams, approaching the last turn. DRS is open. It's a 1:16.1, goes fourth fastest. So we've got 12 lap times on the board. Bruges looking to make it 13. Hamster's just started the flying lap as well in the Red Bull. So can Bruges claim a positive result here? Sixth he was in China last week, and he's sixth fastest so far in Q1. There's still 7 drivers to post a lap time. Joftus has just started the flying lap. Here is Hamster. Reservoir has just started the flying lap as well in the Alfa Romeo. Now, Hamster's got Flix ahead of him. He's just gone off track there just to stay out of the way. So Hamster coming into the penultimate turn, the final left-hander of the lap. He's lucky not to exceed track limits there. And DRS is open, and Hamster goes fastest with a 1:15.5. So far, so good. Droftus has exceeded track limits, so he'll have to go again. Reservoir is coming into Sector 2, 54.6. by this stage of the lap. Flix is just coming back into the pits now, so Reservoir should be okay in regards to track position. Here's the Alfa Romeo going over the line now. 1:16.8 for him, only good enough for 14th. So that is not a good time there, really, for Reservoir. He's going to have to go again. Michael's going very quickly here in the Mercedes. Looking good here to maybe even go fastest for the time being. Second fastest with 1:15.7. So Joftis on a flying lap. Reservoir going faster than before through sector 1. Is anyone else improving? Dan is on another fast lap. We'll go back to Joftis. He's one of 3 drivers yet to post a lap time of any sort to 54.0, but remember, it's the top 15 who are looking to get through. It's just the bottom 5 in this Q1 session that will determine the grid. The bottom 5 at the moment being Reservoir, Big Boy, Jay Hartnell, Don Rabico and Joftis. But there's still a long way to go yet in this session. Can't see how long we've got left. We've got over 8 minutes remaining, so more than enough time for the lap times to come down. Joftis goes 6th on a 1:16.0, so that could well see him through into Q2. Joftis looking to... Well, it's Jay Hartnell, actually, who's on a fast lap. Rabico is on his out lap. He needs to make sure he stays out of the way, doesn't hold anyone up. Reservoir goes 5th, with a 1:15.8, so that is a much more improvement there. Hartnell exceeds track limit, still have to go again, I'm afraid. Big Boy improving through sector 1. How is he getting through? How is he getting on in sector 2? Finds a little bit more time. He's now 4/10 up on his previous best by this stage of the lap. So we could well see him round about where Extremist is, in 12th position. Big Boy's line is not too bad. Had to create a bit of oversteer on the goes up to 12th place. There was a slight glitch there, but that is updated now correctly, and Big Boy goes 12th, but I reckon he may need to go again. So when you look at the times, it doesn't seem to be that anyone is safe, which will make things very, very interesting, especially for Q2, where those getting into Q3 will be starting the race on the same tyres as they set their fastest Q2 time. But this is Q1, so more on the Q2 thing later on. Hartnell, meanwhile, needs to just focus on getting out of the bottom 5. Martin's been pushed in there as well, as is Flix and Callum. And Hartnell's lost a lot of time, actually. I wonder if he's just burning off some fuel before he decides to go again. So we'll go to Rabico, who's most definitely on a fast lap. He'll want to be in, at the very minimum, the low 54s. He is in the low 54s. He's got an AlphaTauri behind him. That'll be Simps, who I believe is on a fast lap, trying to push ever so hard. But Rabico, with this lap, he should get out of the bottom 5, and this will push MDG into it. So Rabico goes 4th. Simps looking to improve, won't be improving. I don't think he was on a particularly quick lap anyway. Hartnell's got his first time of any sort on the board, so he stays in 20th place. Flix, 18th fastest. Can he improve and get out of the bottom 5? He has shown better pace in the past, and his pace by sector 2 is showing it. We've just seen that Reservoir is retired from the session, so we should see him back for Q2. I think anyone on a 1:15 is now safe. Hamster also retiring from the session. So Flix over the line in the Alpine, and goes up to 4th place, and that should see him through. Well, Simps is off track there. Has he hit the wall, or has he just made a mistake and just staying out of the way of the others? Not too sure. Bruges, meanwhile, is coming through. So I want to have a look at Jay Hartnell is going over the line now. only good enough for 19th. So that pushes Martin down to last position. Hartnell needs to find a lot more time than what he's found so far. MDG has just started a flying lap. We'll go back to Bruges, who's currently in 12th. He's lost a lot of time by sector 2, so I don't expect him to be improving on this lap. Martin just about staying within the track limits. Nearly 7 tenths up from before. So Martin looking good to get out of the bottom 5 and push the Extremist into that relegation zone. 4 minutes remaining. So Martin goes up to 9th, 1 minute 16.0. So Big Boy is the next driver at risk in 15th place. The Extremist has just started a fast lap. Hartnell not an improvement. MDG's lost time in sector 1. So I don't expect him to be improving this time around. Here's the Extremist, who will be looking to improve on his 16th place. He's over 3 tenths up from before by the first sector. He's got no traffic in front of him, so he should have a clean run. Oh, he's lost it! And he's crashed into the wall! And that is his qualifying session over. So he's caught the curb on the inside at turn 5, spun the car around, hits the wall, and that is his qualifying session for the Hungarian Grand Prix over. His teammate Callum goes past. He's nearly 4 tenths up by sector 1. So he carries on as he is doing. He's exceeded track limits, unfortunately, so Callum will have to go again. Rabico goes fastest on a 1 minute 15.5. Jaihu, who's currently 12th on a 1:16.1. Ideally wants to be improving. He did improve by sector 1. He's down through sector 2, though. He's got some traffic coming up as well. He might be alright. As he backs off, actually. I think he's backed off. So Jaiho won't be improving this time around. Here is Synix, who's currently in 14th place. He's made a mistake at the chicane, so he's most definitely not going to be improving. Now, Droftus, race winner last time out in China. In P10. Unbelievably, his that time was not invalidated, even though he did go off track. But according to the game, he didn't. So Droftus looking very good here to improve on his 10th place. And he goes up to 8th with a 1:15.9. MDG up to 11th in the Williams now. Here is Gary, who hits the back of Bruges. You didn't see him in time. So Gary will be livid with Bruges there. And Big Boy has also retired from the session now. So that's his qualifying session over, so he's knocked out. Noodles improving by sector 1. Callum exceeded track limits again, so he's ducked into the pits. His qualifying session's over. So we've got 3 of the 5 elimination places filled. Noodles on a fast lap. Jay Hartnell is out on track now on another set of the soft compound. Synix is still at risk. Noodles nearly 2 tenths up by sector 2, but even so, this may not be enough to move in out of the bottom 5. He's got time to do another run if he wants to. He's probably got enough ERS in the battery to do another one, but we'll see. Noodles over the line, rear wing open. He goes up to 9, so he's able to find time in that last sector. So Synix in the drop zone now, but he's also on an improvement. Into the last sector. Rear wing open. Synix goes up to P1 with that. Very nicely done from Synix. He goes top. Gets himself out of the bottom 5. Bruges is now in there. He's on a fast lap though. How is he getting on by sector 2? Not very good. So he's 1,000th of a second away. He needs to find the best of times in the last sector in order to get through into the second part of qualifying. Jaihu's at risk. Although Bruges is into the pit lane now, he's not improving. So he's now out of qualifying. Jay Hartnell has begun his final attempt before the checkered flag had fallen. So he's over a 10th up by sector 1. He needs to find, at the very minimum, nearly 0.6 of a second. How is he getting on by Sector 2? He'll ideally want to be in the low 54s by Sector 2 here. He is in the low 54s, but he's only 0.3 up by this stage, so this could only be enough for Jay Hartnell to just displace Callum here and start 19th on the grid. He needs to find the best final sector out of anyone. Jay Hartnell, round in the last turn. DRS open, over the line. Can he get through to Q2? No, he can't. Stays 19th. So Jaihu can breathe a huge sigh of relief. He is through to Q2 in the Haas. So the bottom 5, the 5 drivers we lose at the end of the first part of qualifying, they are Bruges, Big Boy, Extremist, Jay Hartnell and Callum. Sainz, the fastest of all in that first part of qualifying, and I have to say the gap between the whole field, 1.2 seconds. Very close indeed. And if it's that close, I wonder who is going to try and go into Q3 on the mediums, providing they find enough time as possible. So Q1 is over. Sainz was fastest, but that does not determine the grid. What does determine the grid is those from 16th downwards. So we lose Bruges. He'll be very disappointed with that. Big Boy also out. Extremist, Hartnell and Callum are also eliminated. We'll be back for Q2 in a moment. Welcome back. Q2 has begun. And Calvin commenting saying hi. Hello to you, Calvin. Hope you are well. And I'd just like to give a shout out to Noodles in the Mercedes. A very happy birthday to him. Don't know how old he is now, but I'd like to think he has enjoyed a nice day on the 10th of December. Last week it was my birthday and of course Martin's as well, so birthdays all round throughout the grid. We've seen a Mercedes heading out on track. There's Noodles on the medium compound. Reservoir also on track as well. He's also gone for the medium compound, and I think most of the others are going to do the same. And whilst we'll wait for some flying laps to start, we'll run down on the calendar for the campaign. We've been to Zandvoort, we've been to Shanghai, today is the Hungaroring. Next week we go to Silverstone, which is the last round the CDR will be doing before the Christmas break. And then we return on the 7th of January at Portimao in Portugal. Then Albert Park, Melbourne, Australia on the 14th. Imola on the 21st. And then Interlagos, Brazil on the 28th of January. For February, it's Canada on the 4th, Austin on the 11th, France on the 18th, and Abu Dhabi on the 25th. And then the final set of races, which will be in March, it's Baku on the 4th, Spain in Barcelona on the 11th, Bahrain on the 18th, and then the season finale for Tiers 1 and 2 will be at Suzuka in Japan on the 25th of March. So it's a 16 race campaign, and a lot can still change in regards to the championships. Tiers 1, 2 and 3, there are 3 tiers in the CDR. This is Tier 1 that you are watching. The Tier 2 session happening at the same time. And here's Reservoir then. Oh, he's gone into the wall! Oh, he was very lucky to keep going there. The front wing's damaged, And I don't know if he suffered damage to the rear wing as well. He caught the curb on the inside, entering turn 3, and he lost it in quite a big way. Luckily, the car is not terminally damaged, but I just wonder how much, other than the front wing, has sustained damage from that. We'll go to Jaihu next, because he's on a fast lap. Reservoir stays out of the way. Heading through turn 8 and 9 and 10. And then another fast right-hander of 11. It's a 54.6 by 62, which is not too bad. The track is going to pick up as the session thickens. Jaihu will ideally want to remain in the 1 minute 16s here. A 1 minute 16, a low 1 minute 16 is what he needs to get through to Q3 on the medium compound, just about staying within the track limits. 1 minute 16.7. So it gives him some form of hope, but he had hopes for more than that. We'll go to Droftus next, who's on the soft compound, which is interesting, although he's just backed off actually. So he's not going to go faster than Jaihu. We've got Martin next behind his teammate there. Martin over the line, 1:17.0, not really quick enough at the moment. And MDG, same as well, 1:17.0. Here is Dan, as we watch more drivers go over the line. Science with a 1:16.9 on the mediums. Simps had a very poor time, it's not representative, and neither is for Noodles. So Dan, can he get a really strong lap on the board here? 1:16.7, goes fastest. So a nice lap that from Dan. Calvin's just started the flying lap, flicks over the line for Alpine. It's a 1:17.0 also for him. And that's Calvin actually, who's not going at full speed, so he's probably just burning off some fuel before he decides to do his flying lap. Here is Noodles. Coming towards Sector 2 now. It's a 54.6, so he's probably looking at around where Dan and Jaihu is. Or where Dan and Jaihu are, I should say. So Noodles in the Mercedes, round in the last turn, onto the pit straight. And it's a 1:16.7. So goes in front of Jaihu, but just behind Dan. So Calvin preparing for a fast time. Simps does not improve his lap. I think that was just another prep lap that he was doing. Gary's also on a flying lap in the Williams on the soft compound. He's going to be right on the tail actually of Simps before this lap is done. So just got to hope he doesn't lose too much time whilst he is at it. It's likely that he will be going fastest here because all of those getting into Q2 set their laps in at least the low 1 minute 16s. The fastest time we've seen so far has been a 1:16.7 on the mediums. So Sims going through Sector 2 now. How is he getting on through here? He's looking like it's going to be most definitely in the 1 minute 17s, but I don't think it's going to be that close to where MDG and Martin are. So I think Sims is going to find it very tough to get through to Q3 on the medium compounds. It's a 1:16.9. Gary goes fastest on a 1:15.8. So Sims up to 5th place with the lap he's just posted. Calvin over the line. It's also 1 minute 16.7. So we've got 4 drivers on 1:16.7s on the mediums. Hamster coming through as well. We'll go to him next. I think Flicks is just coming around the last turn. Or is that a Williams heading into the pit lane? I'm not too sure. The Hamster with a 1 minute 17.3. Not good enough, only 11th. Reservoir who has got a new front wing fitted on. How's he getting on through the last turn over the line? And it's a 1:16.5, so he's gone fastest out of all those on the mediums. It's a fairly decent lap time. Michael also coming round in the Mercedes. Horrible there through the last turn, 1:16.9, so he'll have lost some time in that last part of the lap. Rabico is out on circuit on the soft compounds, so he's not bothering on to go for a lap on the mediums. Hamster is not on a flying lap, so I'd like to think he'll be back in the pits and getting a sort of the soft compound on. So I think apart from Gary, no one is really safe from elimination here. Rabico with a 53.8. He's looking good to go fastest here. He won't want to be doing too much mileage on the soft compound, because he needs to make this lap count here. So over the line comes Rabico. Rear wing open. It's a 1:15.4, goes fastest. Well, Hamster's going for another run in the Red Bull. MDG, has he lost time? Coming out of turn 5, not 100% sure. That's a really horrible entry there into the chicane. He has backed out of it. Michael's on an invalidated lap. So we go to Martin next, who's a 10.5 up from before. So he's looking good to get out of the bottom 5. But by how much is the question. He's looking good potentially to be in a 1:15 or 1:16.8. So he could go up to 8th place ahead of Michael. The way he's going about his business here. So 1:16.9. He stays in the bottom 5. Only good enough for 11th. Sinex has started a flying lap. MDG is starting a flying lap now. Hamster is on a flying lap. Coming into the second sector now. 6/10 up from before. Now, is Hamster going to get out of that dreaded drop zone? Droftus is out on circuit on the mediums. So Hamster on the medium compound over the line. 1:16.5 goes third fastest and fastest out of all those on the mediums. Sinex meanwhile on a fast lap. Flix has started a flying lap on the soft compounds. We'll go to Sinex next then. Ideally, you want to try and get into the low 54s if he can. And he's lost time. He's made a mistake somewhere, so he backs out of it. MDG through sector 2. Nearly 4/10 up from before. So this could be good enough to see him move as high up as 5th place, maybe 4th or 3rd if he's lucky, depending on how much time he finds in the last sector. Next in turn 14, DRS open over the line, and it's a 1:16.3, and that puts him to the top of all those on the mediums. So MDG's given himself a good strategy option for the race by setting that time on the mediums. Droftus, can he do the same in the Ferrari? Onto the pit straight, rear wing open, uses the last bit of his ERS, and he goes third. He displaces MDG, so I think the track is actually evolving by the second. Flix, not on a particularly quick lap, to be honest with you, on the soft compound. Rear wing open, he goes third, but I think should those go for a stint or go for a run on the softs, he may not even make it through on that. Simps is on track now in the AlphaTauri with 3.5 minutes to go. So he ideally needs to be in the 1 minute 15s. That's the target that he should be aiming for. He's already 6/10 up from before. He went wide there. That was very nearly a lap invalidation. But he's kept it within the boundaries according to the game. So by sector 2, Flix has crashed out on the exit of turn 4 as well. So that's his qualifying session over, whatever happens. So Flicks won't be going through to Q3. I didn't quite see what Simp's time by sector 2 was. He's coming over the line now. He should be in the 1 minute 15s here. And he is in the 1 minute 15s. It's a 1:15.6. He goes second. Jaihu has just started a flying lap in the Haas. He's the next one. He's about to complete a flying lap. So we may as well stay with him. He's on the medium compound as well. So he feels confident enough he can get through on that compound. But he's down from before through sector 1. So Jaihu may not be advancing to Q3 at this rate. He needs to find a 10th ideally. That's the minimum for him. Now, there's no traffic in front of him that he needs to worry about. He just needs to focus on his own driving. He's 2:10 down from before, and he's invalidated his lap time. So Jaihu's lap is done. We'll go to Synix. Currently the drop zone in 15th. He's less than a 10th up from before by the first sector. So to get out of the bottom 5, Synix needs to find 3/10. He's coming into sector 2 now, and he's nearly 6/10 up from before. So we're into the last minute of Q2. In the bottom 5, along with Flicks, Calvin, Jaihu, Michael, Martin and Synix. So Synix coming round. It's a 1:16.0. So he's slowest out of all those, or I say he's slowest out of all those on the soft compound. He's gone faster than Flicks, but it's only good enough for 4th, and I'm just worried as to how the others are going to do on the soft compound. Calvin close to completing his latest lap in the Red Bull. He comes round over the line. 1:15.5 goes second. That's a very, very good lap time. One of the Alfa Romeos is coming over the line. That's Martin, who goes up to 5th with 1:16.0. Reservoir slows down. He does not want to go fast. He wants to start on that medium compound. He's out. Dan is also out by the looks of things. So he's not going through. Jaihu not making it through either. So Noodles has invalidated his lap time, so he won't be going any quicker. Michael has also invalidated his lap. He won't be going any quicker. So that ends Q2 as it is. So the drivers we lose at the end of that session are Flicks, Reservoir, Jaihu, Dan, Noodles and Michael. The drivers advancing into Q3 and starting the race on the mediums, they are Droftus, MDG and Hamster. All the others getting through on the softs. So we just wait for the drivers to complete the session. I'll either go in the pits or cross over the line. There's MDG who's entering the pits now. He's backed off on his run on the softs. Doesn't need to be going any quicker. So it's going to be an interesting... There's going to be some interesting mind games going on in regards to strategy here, because some may decide to do the 1 start, others are considering probably do the 2. If you're starting on the softs, you'll most certainly be doing the 2. If you're starting on the mediums, you can make them last, put the hard tyres on and go to the end of the race on them. There's Reservoir. He'll be disappointed with his Q2 exit, but at least he'll have a free choice of tyre to begin the race on. So Q2 is over. Rabico goes fastest in that session, but we lose 6 drivers because Flicks crashed out on circuit. So he'll start 10th. Reservoir also eliminated, along with Jaihu, Dan, Noodles, and Michael. We'll be back for Q3 to see who will make it to pole position. Q3 commences. 9 drivers will be battling it out for pole. Be interesting to know who will be going for 2 runs and who will be going for the 1. Well, we know that both Red Bulls are heading out. Calvin and Hamster. Is there anyone else also taking to the racetrack as we speak? I think one of the Ferraris is heading out. That'll be Droftus. Sinix also making his way out onto the racetrack. So Hamster, he decides to let Calvin go through here. He does not want to be at the head of this queue. You can see more drivers on circuit now. Martin, Simps, and MDG, even Rabico and Gary still in the pits. And there's Calvin. Is he letting Droftus go through here? He is. He probably wants that toe on the pit straight. And Droftus and Calvin go over the line. I'm not sure Calvin left himself. He should have just backed off maybe a little bit. He's running too close there. Droftus in the turbulent air, so he's going to find it very, very tough to get a decent lap time on the board, but we'll see. .26.8 through sector 1 for Droftus. Didn't see what Calvin's sector 1 time was like. I can only imagine that Droftus's will be better. He runs wide though on the exit of the chicane. So Droftus with a 53.8 by sector 2. Rear wing open, not rear wing open, we're riding on board with him as he enters the last turn. Rear wing open, and it's a 1:15.5 and goes to the top for now. Calvin only with a 1:16.5, so he only manages third. Hamster just missing out there by 700ths of a second. He remains in P2. Sinix goes P3 with a 1:16.1. The next one behind will be Martin. Only a 54.2 by the second sector, so don't expect him to go in front of either Droftus or Hamster. But a high 1 minute 15 is still possible here. 1:16.1, only 4 for him. And as MDG over the line goes third with 1:15.8. On 16.2. for the Alpha Tauri pilot. And Rabico and Gary have made it out onto the racetrack now. Deciding to go in the gap of the traffic. Comes to not improving by sector 2. Calvin won't be either. So Gary, who's on his debut actually in Tier 1. Don't know if this is his maiden CDR appearance. So he enters the last turn to begin a flying lap. And I think Joftis is going for an improvement here. We'll go to him. See how he's getting on by sector 2. He'll have burnt off some fuel whilst he was doing his cool down lap. Which could help him play on. Oh, he's run wide there. He's gone quicker through sector 2, but he's invalidated his lap time. So, might as well come away from 26.8 by sector 1 for Gary. So, a 1 minute 15 is possible, but not by having oversteer like that. That'll have cost him time as he approaches the chicane. He looks to make up for it for the remainder of the lap. .53.9 by sector 2. So Gary, it's probably going to be a 1 minute 16, I would reckon. Goes over the line. So 1:15.7 actually, he goes third. So despite the mistake on the exit of turn 5, he's still able to put his Williams to the second row. Rabico's exceeded track limits on his latest lap, so he'll have to go again, I would reckon. He probably will do. We'll stay with him. Calvin is out on track now in the Red Bull, going for his last run. So Rabico on his fast lap. Just under 5 minutes to go. So through sector 1, the championship leader with a 26.8. How's he getting on through the chicane? Not too bad. Pushing as hard as he can without getting any oversteer. That's very nicely smooth. Nice and smooth there through the sequence of corners. It's a 53.6 by sector 2, which is one of the best we've seen, if not the best, by this stage in the lap. DRS open. Rabico over the line. It's a 1:15.1, and he goes to provisional pole position by 0.3 of a second. Calvin through sector 2, 0.7 up from before. So could this be enough to move him as high as the second row? It's very much possible. Martin's out on circuit now in the Alfa Romeo. Calvin looking to complete this lap. Rear wing open. 1:15.6, and he does go to the second row just behind his teammate. So good luck there. Rabico backs off the pace. Calvin's going for another effort. And why not? He hasn't got anything to lose by this point. He's got no one to worry about in regards to traffic. I'm not sure if he's going faster by sector 1 actually. No, he's not. He's way off from before. So Martin will be the next to start a flying lap unless Rabico, who's just ahead, is going to go for another. I'm not sure if Rabico's got time to get a change of tyres put on and get round in time. Yeah, he's ducking into the pits, so we'll come away from him as Martin starts what could well be his last attempt. He's currently 8th on a 1:16.1. With the track evolving as it is, I'd like to think he will be improving on that particular lap time. Drofters is back out on track now. Got 2 more cars rejoining the racetrack. They are Hamster and Synix. I think Sims is actually already... Sims is joining him on track, so Synix is just going through turn 11 now. 26.8 by sector 1 for Martin. That's quicker than before. Tries to avoid that inside curb as much as he can. Martin needs to be in the mid 53s by sector 2. And he's not even in that range. He's only a couple of tenths up from before. This could only be good enough, I would say, for 7th fastest with the way he's going about his business here. Rear wing open. 1:15.7 and he goes 5th. So Martin up to 5th place. Synix is coming through sector 1. Nearly 2 cents up from before. And he's looking very, very strong here, is Synix. Now Hamster's about to cross over the line to start another lap. Rabico is not going out again, so... Oh, and that's Synix who hits the wall. Front wing gone. Please keep out of the wall. He does so. So that's him out of the frame for pole. Martin also on a fast lap. By the looks of things, although he's well off the pace actually. Simps nearly 3 tonnes up from before by sector 1. Droftus is on the flying lap as well. Can he take pole position away from Rabico? He's only nearly a couple of tenths up from before. He needs to find more than that. He needs to find 3.5 tenths. Is he able to find that amount of time in the remainder of this lap? Droftus entering the last turn. Can he snatch pole away from Rabico? The DRS is open now. Droftus over the line, and he does not make it. He misses out by a tenth. We'll go back to Sims as he's coming into the last turn. He'll go into a 1:15 as it stands. It's a 1:15.4, goes 3rd. Very nicely done there for Sims, who's substituting for Red Dog this evening. MDG goes 3rd now. So MDG up to 3rd place. Hamster now goes up to the front row. So Rabico, without needing to do another run, is on pole position for McLaren here in Hungary. Hamster will join him alongside less than a tenth adrift, with Droftus and MDG on the 2nd row, followed by Simps, who will start in a fine 5th place for AlphaTauri ahead of Calvin, who won't be too pleased with 6th. Martin and Gary will line up on row 4 with Synix in 9th place. That is qualifying over. We now go on to the 35 lap race. Do not go anywhere, folks. We could be in for a belter. Welcome back. There'll be no formation that for the race, so we'll have to have a look on the race directs as to who is starting on what. So we've got Hamster, Droftus and MDG on the mediums. The rest in the top 10 are starting on the softs, with Reservoir, Jaihu, Dan, Noodles, Michael and Bruges also on the mediums, Jay Hartnell and Kellum on the mediums. The other two that are Big Boy and Extremist are on the hard compound tyres. So I'll run down on the grid whilst we're waiting for the start to commence. Rabico and Hamster on the front row with Droftus and MDG alongside it. Sims and Calvin on row 3. Martin and Gary on row 4 ahead of Synix and Flicks. Reservoir and Jaihu make up row 6 ahead of Dan and Noodles. Michael and Bruges are next on row 8 ahead of Big Boy and Extremist. Jay Hartnell and Kellum make up the grid. Less than 30 seconds away now from lights out. Who will make it into the first corner first? Here we go then for the start of this race. Rabico on pole, Hamster alongside. Who will make it into turn 1 first? The 5 red lights appear in front of the drivers. When they go out, we'll be racing here at Hungary. It's lights out, and away we go. Rabico gets off to a very good start with Hamster alongside in P2. Droftus is in there as well in the Ferrari. He's going to go to the outside shortly of the Red Bull. It's turn 1 they go. Hamster on the inside on the mediums. Makes contact with the McLaren of Rabico into turn 1. And it looks like Rabico is still in the lead for now, but Hamster is all alongside. Pushes Rabico out to the left a little bit. Hamster to the outside, Rabico able to run him out, but Rabico stays ahead with Hamster in second place. It's Droftus ahead of Sims, who's made up places. MDG and Calvin make up the top 6 so far ahead of Martin, Gary, Synix and Flicks, with a long way to go yet in this race. So Rabico getting off to a very good start, fending off on the Red Bull behind. Droftus giving him chase, and we've got Sims and MDG also looking to make up. Sims having a better time of it here so far than he did so in Zandvoort a couple of weeks back. He'll be hoping to stay there for the remainder of this race. Keep an eye out on those on the soft compound, because their tyres will start to fall away at some point compared to those on the mediums or the hards. So they come round towards the penultimate turn. I'm just looking to see if anyone's picked up damage. There's Bruges who's got his front wing damage there. The same for Callum. His Big Boy picked up damage. It looks like the Alfa Romeo there has picked up damage. Reservoir, yeah. So Reservoir into the pits at the end of lap 1. So Rabico in the lead so far. No DRS for the first 2 laps of the race, of course. And then we've seen there Flicks thinking about a move on the inside, but doesn't go for it. Or at least Reservoir, Callum and Bruges can go on a long second stint for themselves now. They'll have some clear track ahead of them. So Rabico in the race lead. He's at the moment just under a second clear of Hamster. There are 2 DRS zones. One on the pit straight and one in between turns 1 and 2. In between turns 1 and 2, I should say. But there's only one detection point, which means if you're within 1 second of the car ahead, as we watch the Extremist go for a spin, is that his front wing damage? Doesn't look like it is. I think that just may be a spin for him, but Aston Martin's day hasn't got off to the best of starts in this race. So what I was going to say was the detection point is for both zones. So if you're within 1 second of the car ahead, you've got 2 bites of the cherry. But Rabico still in the lead at the moment, with Hamster in second place, Droftus third, ahead of Sims. As the field come round, new fastest laps have been posted. Sims holds that at the moment in the AlphaTauri. DRS has been enabled. So Rabico doing a fine job so far. Can he pick up his second victory of the season? Second win from 3. Hamster going for his first win of the campaign. And we've got an incident in sectors 1 and 2. Looks like the Ferrari of Dan has gone for a spin. I don't know how he's managed to do that, to be honest with you. It looks like his front wing's damaged by the way he's going through turn 4 there. I'm not sure what on earth is going on involving him. He has lost a lot of time. Maybe he's not liking the hard compound. So Rabico leads. Sims all over the back of Joftas as well. He's edging to get in front. The DRS has been enabled, so Hamster is able to close in on Rabico. He won't go for it into turn 1. We'll have the DRS again on the exit. So Calvin. Ooh, Flick's nearly dropping it on the exit of 3. Got away with it. Reservoir with the new fastest up of the race. He's on the soft compound. He's desperate to get back into the action right now. So Rabico on that 4. And one of his soft tyres will be... Oh, that's Hamster in the wall! Hamster's dropped it on the exit of turn 11. His front wing's gone. And that hands second place to Sims, who's got in front of Joftas as well. Well, that wasn't in the script. Most certainly not in Hamster's script. He makes contact with Flicks as well. Hamster needs to make sure he stays out of the way. He doesn't make contact with the other drivers. So Hamster will be entering the pits, throws away second place, and Sims has a shot at going for the lead. MDG up to 4th now. Calvin 5th, Martin 6th. Ahead of Gary, Sonics, Jaihu and Michael. Noodles up to 11th on his birthday so far. He'll be hoping for better than that. But there is Hamster in the pit lane. Hard tyres going on. Earlier than planned for sure. And he'll probably rejoin behind Reservoir. And I'm not sure what's happening there involving Hamster. He was having a bit of a problem. That can't be right. That must be a glitch with the game itself. So Rabico under threat now from Sims. He's finding some very strong pace in the Avatar. He's got to be careful not to be exceeding track limits like that, though. He probably did that because of what happened to Hamster on the previous lap. And Big Boy with the first time penalty of the race as well for track limits. So we'll probably expect to see a load of those as the race progresses. DRS open on Simpson's car as the field begin lap 6. Jaihu passing Sinix on the inside into 1, and the Haas driver moves up into 7th place. He'll have the DRS on the exit, so he keeps hold of that position. Big Boy, Dan, Extremist, Reservoir and Hamster next behind. Hamster's just... You'll be hoping for a safety car later on. Maybe not now. And Michael gets past Sinix for 9th place. And Rabico makes a mistake on the exit of turn 7. Sims thought about going for the move, but decides better of it. Right on board with him again as they filter their way through turn 11. Now, does Rabico decide to pit in at the end of this lap? He's really starting to struggle now on that set of softs. Sims has more confidence on the soft compound than the McLaren. So the leaders decide to stay out for now. Sims will have the DRS on the pit straight. He's got loads of ERS storage still in there that he could use. He's using it now to fend off Joftas. Oh, and Rabico's off! Rabico got the power down too early, and that hands the lead to Sims, and Joftas goes through to 2nd. So another one of the leaders makes a mistake on the exit of the turn. No damage was done, but he's lost time and places. And look at that. Martin looks as though he's trying to go past him. Rabico just doesn't have any grip left. Martin gets through, and it looks like Gary is shortly going to get through as well. Michael gets past, and Gary nearly drops it on the exit of turn 5. Michael gets on the inside, by the looks of it, on Gary. No, he doesn't. He stays behind him. He's got past Jaihu anyway. Rabico must surely be thinking of pitting in at the end of this lap. Gary with more grip on the inside of Rabico into turn 12. Does Rabico see him in time? He does. Leaves him enough space. But that's going to give Michael a chance to get through. So we are beginning to see those on the soft compound begin to struggle. Sims times it right to come into the pits now, I think. Calvin in as well. Rabico, Jaihu. Oh no, Jaihu stays out actually. It's Gary who is in. So Simps stays ahead. Simps will rejoin ahead of Dan, I believe. He rejoins in 10th place. So he's rejoined, not exactly chuck position, but he's in a better position than those who've just pitted in behind. So he's gone on to the medium compound, in fact. So we will be seeing Simps in the pits before this race is over. He's probably going to go onto a soft, medium strategy. Depends what he decides to do, of course. So Jofta's in the lead now for Ferrari. He's able to go longer. He'll probably do another 7 or 8 laps on the mediums before he comes in for the hard compound tyre. So we expect him to be on the 1-stop. MDG likewise. Martin is still on the soft compound. He'll probably pit in at the end of this lap. He probably stayed out another lap to avoid the pit stop pandemonium. Sinex into the pits for AlphaTauri. Michael with the DRS behind Martin. Should go for it into turn 1, I think. On the inside. Martin leaves him enough space, but Michael will have the DRS again on the exit of the turn. Does Michael go for it into turn 2? Round the outside goes the Mercedes. Is he able to get the job done? Not at that particular corner. He may do the switchback on the exit of 3. Michael pulls out the slipstream to the outside into turn 4. That will be very ambitious to get the job done there. And Michael not able to get through that time around. So just watch Sinex, who rejoins in 14th position. Martin is still out there on his first set of softs. So he's holding the pack up now, actually. So Michael will want to get past the Alfa Romeo as soon as he can. He's tight on fuel, actually, Michael, so he'll need to watch his fuel gauge. Three seconds is the gap between Joftas in the lead and MDG in second position. What about Martin? Is he going to come into the pits this time around? He is now. So Martin into the pits. He's the last of those who have started on the soft compound to come in for a tyre change. He probably needs to go into the pits a bit quicker than that. Hartnell will go past him. Simps will go past him for sure. Calvin will go through. Sinex will go through without a doubt. Well, Martin's exiting the pit lane now. He's actually going to rejoin ahead of Sinex. So Sinex, whilst he gets past Extremist into turn 1, Martin rejoins ahead of him. Extremist is obviously still not pitted in this race yet. He'll be going long on his set of hards. There's Simps, who's getting stuck behind Jay Hartnell now. And well, it looks like it was off the track there. I think that's just a glitch with the game itself. Hartnell keeps hold of his 6th place on track. It's important that Simps gets past him, because the more he gets stuck behind Hartnell, the more time he loses in the battle with Joftas and the others for the race victory. So he needs to get Jay Hartnell on the pit straight when it comes around to using the DRS Simps to the outside, thinks about a move, gives him more speed on the straight. DRS open, and he will sail past without an issue. So Simps goes up to 6th place ahead of the McLaren, and Simps continuing his fine form as a reserve. Now, he may not become champion this season, but if he keeps performing like this as a reserve, I'd like to think he will be on the grid for season 4, but who knows? So we're on lap 11 of this race. Simps gets through. He's got 10 seconds to make on the Noodles, so he's got all the time he needs to make up the ground, whilst Droftus, MDG, Michael, Jaihu and Noodles continue on their way on their old set of mediums. So all 20 cars are still running at the moment. Bruges running in 20th and last place, just behind Callum. Now, in all the league races that I've commentated, I've never seen 20 cars that started actually making it to the end. Could today change that? Jaihu passes Michael for 3rd place into turn 1. Jaihu will use the DRS as well before turn 2. So he maintains position. So Simps is gaining, I think, around about a second a lap on Noodles. So he'll want to keep it up with the pace he is showing today. Calvin getting in front of Dan now for what is 9th place. Rabico now with a time penalty. That is bad news for him. He's running down in 16th place anyway. But it's not ideal to be receiving penalties at this stage. Simps not gaining that much on Noodles at the moment on this lap. Now, if I was him, I would consider maybe using the ERS on the pit straight to gain some more time, but he'll be thinking more ahead when he does put another set of the mediums on, depending on how far he can take the mediums that he's currently on. 2. There's Michael behind Jaihu. Jaihu having another fine race so far. Fifth last week in China. 5th the week before at Zandvoort. He's running in the top 5 again, this time in 3rd place. So Simps at the moment is 18 seconds off the lead and catch him. So Droftus will fall behind Simps when he does come in for his only stop. So by sector 2, Simps is 7.5 seconds off the pace. He made a slight mistake there into turn 11. Got away with it though. There's Michael behind Jaihu in the battle for the final podium spot. Michael will have the DRS, not just on this straight, but on the straight after that. Rear wing open. Does he go to the inside? Not quite so from there. Gets into the slipstream. He's not able to go through on this occasion. Calvin running in 8th behind Jay Hartnell. He'll be stuck behind him for the whole of this lap, considering he is now on better tyres than the McLaren, but absolutely short. Streamer's getting in front of Reservoir. He will be struggling unless Reservoir is trying to get back ahead of him here. Rabico, who was on pole position at the start, tries to take advantage of the Aston Martin, but he's losing time, being stuck behind. Hamster behind him as well. Who'd have thought that the front row starters would have been running outside the top 15 as Reservoir allows Rabico to go through. Reservoir must think about pitting in at the end of the start to get rid of those soft compound tyres. Callum gets a time penalty for track limits. He knew he was going to get that as he tries to fend off Bruges. Here's MDG into the pits for Williams. Gets the car slowed down to the 80 km/h speed limit. Is there anyone else behind him following in? Not at the moment. Michael looking to have a go on Jaihu into turn 1. Won't do it from there. So Simps will go back in front of MDG. MDG should rejoin ahead of Calvin. Nicely done as he rejoins ahead of the Red Bull. Hartnell in as well. Hard tyres go on. And he's out on his way. And he rejoined behind Flicks in 18th place. So Joftus out on his own, nearly 10 seconds clear of Jaihu. Sims has got the gap down between himself and the lead. It's still 18 seconds actually. So Joftus is maintaining the gap. Sims is not catching Noodles as quickly as we thought he would be doing so. Now are either Jaihu, Michael or Noodles coming in at the end of this lap? No, none of them are. So they carry on for another lap. So if they're able to go that long, I'm just wondering, is it worth going on to the soft compound when Simps comes in for his start? As Michael gets past Jaihu. There's a bit of contact on the exit. Michael stays alongside Jaihu into turn 2. Wheel to wheel. But Michael just gets past. So Michael through into second place ahead of the Haas. But he nearly drops it on the exit of 3 and gathers it all up. And amazingly stays in front of the Haas. There's a spin in sector 3. Jay Hartnell has spun round but has continued. Reservoir in the pits for Alfa Romeo for his second stop of the race. And Hamster's out. He's had his second spin and this time it's for good. Is that going to bring out the stage car? He's in a dangerous place there actually. I don't know if he's had to come in together with someone, but Hamster goes no further in this Hungarian Grand Prix. So we're not going to have a clean field all the way to the checkered flag. The VSC's deployed, and now the safety car's out. And Droftus has just missed the pit lane. Is he going to go past the safety car before he gets to it? No, he'll have to stay behind it. He will have to stay behind. This is wrecked Droftus' race. Michael is able to come in for a pit stop, as is Jaihu, as is Noodles. Simps will most definitely be coming in. This is played horribly into Droftus' hands. So Simps will have to go onto the hard compound to get to the end of the race on. So what does Droftus do then? What will he have to do? Will he come in this lap? Or does he stay out there, keep track position and go longer and put set the soft compound tyres later on? He might have to do the latter if he's to salvage anything from this race. So all 19 cars still on the lead lap. So Droftus will be absolutely irritated by the timing of the safety car. Had it come out 15 seconds sooner or even 10 seconds sooner, he'll have ducked into the pits. He really didn't need that at all. I think only one choice really. Looking at where the field are on the track map, I think he's going to have to come in, because otherwise, if he stays out there, he's going to lose a load of positions for when he comes in later on. He is coming in. So Droftus in for his only stop now. So Simps goes through. Hard tyres go on. And he should get out, I think, behind Martin. So Droftus drops down to 9th place. The bad news for him is that the top three, well, the 3 drivers ahead of him are on fresh mediums. So Michael leads behind the safety car. We didn't think that would be the case at the beginning. Jaihu's second. Noodles, who's now up to 3rd. Would be a nice birthday present for him. Sims running in 4th. Rabico back up to 5th place, but he's on 10-lap-old hard tyres now. He can go to the end of the race on those, but he's going to be vulnerable to those behind him. MDG 6th, Calvin 7th, Martin 8th. Droftus is just pitted, is now 9th. Big Boy rounding out the top 10 so far. I'm not sure whether the safety car will come in at the end of this lap. It may well do. Bruges and Jay Hartnell have almost caught up to the back of the Crocodile. I think the safety car will be going in at the end of this lap, because they've done 2 whole laps now as the field gets back together. The safety car is coming in at the end of this lap. So Michael will back the field up, and he will go when he's ready to do so. 17 laps remaining in this Hungarian Grand Prix. It's anyone's game for the victory now, it has to be said. Can Droftus fight his way back through the field? The championship is wide open as well. And I have to say, none of the top 3 in the drivers' standings, or any of the top 4, are in the top 4 positions on track. And now we're back on the way. Rabico's in the pits. He wants a set of mediums, presumably. But we're back on the way with Sims already pouncing on Noodles on the restart. To the inside he goes into turn 1. And Sims goes past easily. Noodles didn't really fight it on this occasion. Sims runs over the curb. He's probably picked up a track limits warning for that. But we carry on as we are. MDG looking to pounce also in the Williams. And now Calvin looking to pounce. Someone's gone for a spin in sector 1. I think that's actually Rabico, who is just coming out of the pits, actually. Droftus up to 8 because of Rabico coming into the pits. I have to say, none of the top 5 in the championship coming into this round are in the top 5 positions in this race. Now Droftus behind Martin here. No DRS for the first 2 laps of the restart. MDG now with a time penalty for track limits. That could cost him later on. And Calvin's gone off in the Red Bull. Has he damaged the front wing in the process? Doesn't look like he has. And Red Bull's day goes from bad to worse. Droftus now ahead of Martin for 6th place, but Martin's fighting back. Droftus is still there. Droftus goes through. Martin slots in behind, so Droftus through into P6. And now we look at Sims to the outside of Noodles. On the exit turn 2. Sims will need to watch his mirrors because MDG's looming in behind. Sims not able to get through this time. Michael continuing to lead out in front. Now, reserve drivers don't necessarily score points in the CDR. I think they should do, to be honest with you. They should be credited with that, with a place in the standings. But Michael looking ever so strong since the restart. 1 second clear of Jaihu. Sims aiming to get a move done on Noodles sooner rather than later. DRS is now enabled for the drivers. And there's Dan right behind Big Boy in the battle over 8. And Simps now with a time penalty. That was bound to happen at some point. So 3 seconds it is for him, unfortunately. He's got to hope that kind of fortune happens to the others as Rabico goes for a spin at the back. It's continued anyway. Simps with the rear wing open. He should go past Noodles with ease here. Into turn 1. And Simps goes through and up to P3. MDG now ahead of Droftus. Or Droftus ahead for a moment, but MDG fighting back. Runs out wide at turn 2. Droftus not able to get through on this occasion. Reservoir 3 seconds behind. There's going to be 3 seconds behind by the end of the race because he's received a time penalty for track limits. There's Michael running in the lead. As it stands with the positions as they are, Droftus will leave Hungary as the new championship leader. Now, a 6th place finish would net you 10 points. So Droftus will be ahead by 6 as it stands. There's still 13 laps of racing to do. Have you seen any more moves at the moment? Not at the moment. And there's Rabico on his own there, down in 19th. Sims, he's got he's running wide there at turn 3. You don't want to be doing that. And in sector 2, Reservoir's gone for a spin in the Alfa Romeo. So he hit the barrier there. Doesn't look like he has, but he's dropped right back down the order. There's another one to be caught out by the curbs. Jaiho's now within a second of Michael. He's closing on him all the time. Michael's now with a time penalty for track limits. I didn't quite pick up on that. So Jaiho is in a position to win this race now, as it stands. He doesn't need to pass Michael, and Reservoir's out of the race this time. He's crashed on the exit of turn 11. His race is over. Now is that going to bring out the safety car with him stranded there? Doesn't look like the safety car will be coming out just yet. We're carrying on as we are for now. The Reservoir's race is finished. So Noodles behind Sims at the moment, who's chasing after Jaiho. Now Droftus, as you can see, MDG looking to make a move on Noodles on the inside. There was slight contact made before they even got to the corner. MDG looking to complete a switchback on the inside. Is he through ahead of Mercedes? Yes, he is. So MDG gets past. Noodles to go up into 4th position. Droftus trying to make a move as well. Doesn't quite make it. He may do it on the inside into turn 12. Noodles goes defensive. Droftus has to wait behind. And now Martin looks to try and get involved as well. So Sims is pulled away from this lot. And now we watch Jaiho with the DRS open. Closing in on Michael for the lead. Droftus on the outside of Noodles into turn 1. There's a bit of contact. Droftus will have the DRS again. Gets a quick of wheel spin on the exit though. He's not able to get through. Bruges passes Callum for the final points place in 15th. So Jai-Hoo aiming for a fantastic result. I think this will be his first victory in the CDR, as far as I can remember. Calvin with a time penalty now for track limits. As an instant sector 3, is that Calvin has gone round? It is. So it's another spin for a Red Bull driver. And that just sums up their day. There's Joftis getting past Noodles. There was nearly contact between the pair of them down that pit straight. But Joftis is through, and he will have the DRS for the next turn. So Noodles is not going to have that privilege. Oh, and that's the extremist into the wall. And that might bring out the safety car. It has done. Calvin's in the pits for a new nose, but he will catch back up to the field. Now that's going to be interesting. Who's going to duck into the pits for the soft compound? Now, if you're someone on the mediums, you may decide to take a gamble. Those at the back will most certainly be taking the gamble. They've all got deltas. I think Sims has had a spin. He has. So Sims has had a spin whilst under safety car conditions. He's fallen back down to 6th place now. He's trying to get back through ahead of Martin. I think Martin must have overtaken him after Sims got going again, but Sims has lost 3 positions there because of that spin. Dreadful scenario for him. Did everything right in this race. Now, what does Michael do? He does not come in. Jai-Hoo does not come in either. Droftus dives into the pits. He's gambling. Sims also gambling. Big Boy also in. Bruges, unsurprisingly, comes in. Jay Hartnell as well. And I wouldn't be at all surprised if Rabico did the same. And I think Calvin may decide, you know what, I'm going to get a set of the soft compound on as well. So the field have caught up to the safety car now, with Michael leading, Jai-Hoo 2nd, MDG 3rd, Noodles 4th, Martin 5th, Dan 6th, Gary 7th, Sinix 8th, Flix 9th, and Callum 10th. Droftus has rejoined the race on the fresh set of softs in 11th position. Sims in 12th, Big Boy 13th. I don't know why he keeps doing that. To be honest with you, that'll just be a glitch with the game itself. So Michael, at the moment, is not on course to win this race. At the moment, it's Jai-Hoo. It's just a question of how quickly can Droftus fight his way through the field on the restart. Three retirements from this race. Extremist, Reservoir and Hamster are those still not competing. It's anyone's game for the victory now. And there's Calvin. He decides to stay out there on his medium compound. Rabico will be catching back up to them. So we'll be in for a 7-lap shootout to the finish. This is the second safety car period of the day. Can Michael hold on to the victory? Well, he needs to pull out a gap of 3 seconds at the very minimum if he's to win. MDG also has a time penalty, likewise for Dan, Callum, Sims, Big Boy, Calvin and Rabico. The whole field is behind the safety car, so the safety car will be peeling into the pits at the end of this lap. Setting up for a nail-biting finish to this Grand Prix now. Michael looking very, very good. to salvage a good result. He never expected to be fighting at the front today, quite frankly. And from what the CDR have said to me, reserves score full driver points, which are recorded and awarded in the event that they take up a full-time seat. They can score half points for the constructors. Okay, so that's fair enough. So the safety car is coming in at the end of this lap. Michael will dictate the pace, and he will go when he is ready to do so. I know I keep saying those words, but it is how it works. And Michael looking to fend off those behind on the restart. Takes to the outside, and it's a very nice restart there from the Merc. Oh, that's someone in the wall! That's MDG is out! So MDG loses it on the exit! So that's him gone! No points for the Williams driver! And there's Martin on the inside of Noodles into turn one. He gets through. Down up to 5th place. Gary in there as well. Joftis is in 10th place behind Callum. Joftis goes to the outside on the fresh, soft compound tyre. And he goes through and up to 9th place. So Joftis on a charge already on the restart. Just looking to see who else is making up ground. Joftis thinking about a move, won't do it into the chicane, too risky. There's Simps running in 11th still. He's really edging to get in front of that Aston Martin. Will he go for it into turn number 12? Not quite. He knows he's got a lot of ground to make up from here, especially with that 3-second time penalty he has got currently. No DRS for the first 2 laps of the restart. Rabico ahead of Calvin for 15th place. On track anyway. As we watch Joftis go side by side now with the Alpine of Flicks. Into turn 1, to the outside he goes. Does he make it? Yes, he does. So Joftis gets through. Simps gets ahead of Callum as well. And now he can go after the Alpine. Joftis looking to get in front of Synix. He won't get it done into turn 4. Going to make a move on the outside. Not quite so. Big Boy now with the time penalty for track limits. They'll drop him back behind Bruges and Jay Hartnell at the end of this race. Joftis getting a better exit coming out of the chicane, and he's through. And Flex has lost the position to... Oh no, that's Synix actually. I was just watching. He's in a AlphaTauri sandwich now, is Flicks. Sims looking and desperate to get through. Flicks making a mistake, nearly dropping it, doing almost what Hamster did earlier. And Rabico. So Michael continuing on. There's Martin running in 3rd place. Very much in play for the race victory, as is Noodles. And now Joftis is on the inside of Gary, entering turn 1 with 5 laps to go. That is another car disposed from him. Sims runs wide on the exit of turn 1. He waits behind the Alpine. And he gets a better drive coming out there. This is surely him through. It is. So Sims able to get past. He's still got the Alpine alongside, but I think Flicks will accept defeat on this occasion. So Sims goes up to 9th place on track. Next up ahead of him is his teammate, Synix. Joftis is behind his teammate now. Now, will his teammate let him fit through easily? Joftis will want to get this job done as soon as he can. Dan runs out wide there, won't want to be doing that on too many occasions. Rouge now with a time penalty for track limits. Dan runs out wide, Joftis goes through. So Joftis is through. He will get the DRS because he's within 1 second of the Mercedes of Noodles. Noodles won't have the DRS. So Joftis has a golden opportunity to dispose of the Mercedes and go after the leaders. So he's going to blitzed past and up into 4th place on track. How much life has he taken out of those soft compound tyres though? Simps now ahead of Sinix. Nearly dropping it though, does Simps, so he waits behind Gary and Dan. Bruges passing Rabico, who's in a tussle with him anyway. So Jottas approaching turns 8 and 9. Now if you can get past Martin and Jaihu, that could be enough to see him take victory. The only twist to the tail would be if he gets a time penalty of his own. To the field, onto the pit straight. Jottas into the slipstream of the Alfa Romeo. Does he go to the outside into turn 1? He does so. He will have the DRS on the exit of 1. Pulls alongside, and that's him through, surely ahead of the Alfa Romeo. Martin has the DRS as well, but keeps hold of his position, but he runs a bit too far wide at 2. And Jottas is surely through, is he? Oh, Michael's out of it! Michael's crashed out at turn 3! So Michael from the race lead has thrown it all away with 3 laps to go. He was trying to build up a gap from those behind, but he has dropped it on the exit the 3rd corner. With only 3 laps remaining, his race has come to a premature close. And Jaihu is now into the lead of the Hungarian Grand Prix. But for how long? Because he's got the Ferrari of Jottas all over the back of his gearbox, who could snatch victory by the scruff of his neck. So Jottas is now within DRS range. Surely he's going to get the move done on the Haas, on the pit straight. He's got 2 bites of the cherry. There's no way, I don't think Jaihu will hold this off. 2 laps to go. Jottas through ahead of the Haas. He remarkably takes back the lead of the Hungarian Grand Prix. Who would have thought of that? About 10 or so laps ago. Jottas on course for 2 wins out of 3 in Season 3, Tier 1 in the CDR. Splendid stuff. And Big Boy into the pits for Haas. He's all of a sudden picked up damage to his car. But Jaihu has dropped to 2nd place. Jottas surely is not going to throw this victory away now. He's on course to extend his lead, or take over the championship lead ahead of Rabico. Jottas on course to get 25 points. Rabico with the time penalty. He would, at the moment, drop 1 position. He would only collect 4 championship points. So the gap at the top between him and Jottas will be 17 points by the time this race is over. And now Martin is right on the tail of Jaihu as Jottas starts the final lap of this race. And now he's got the fastest lap, so Jottas will get another championship point, so the gap at the top will extend to 20 points. Martin not able to go for a move into turn 1 on Jaihu. He'll have it again before he gets to turn 2. Flix gets ahead of Sinix now for 8. Martin decides not to go for it. Noodles waiting behind. Can he get onto the podium on his birthday? He's running out of time, so he'll have to hope for a mistake. As now we watch Sinix and Flix go side by side into turn 4. Sinix holds on to that position ahead of the Alpine. He'll have to watch his mirrors. Callum gets another time penalty. That won't make any difference to his race finishing position. But Jottas in the race lead. It certainly wasn't as easy as what it was in China. He never expected it to be. He's got back the lead they most definitely merited earlier on. but the time of the safety car almost looked like it had cost him the race victory. But he never gave in. Round the last corner, Droftus for Ferrari wins the Hungarian Grand Prix. He takes the lead in the Drivers' Championship after 3 rounds. Jaihu comes home to finish second for Haas. Martin third for Alfa Romeo. Noodles comes home fourth. Gary on debut fifth. Sinek sixth. Flick seventh. Hartnell up to eighth with the penalties applied. Sims down to ninth. Bruce 10th. Dan 11th. Rabico picking up only 4 championship points for 12th. Calvin 13th. Callum 14th. And Big Boy will be the last of the finishers and picking up a point for 15th place. What a remarkable Hungarian Grand Prix. What an entertaining one. What an unpredictable chain of events. But Droftus will feel so satisfied with that. That is mass relief. So it's 2 wins out of 3 for Droftus. He will feel so amazed he's come back through the field on the soft compound. And he did that with time to spare as well. And who would have thought that? So here's your final race result. Droftus wins with Jaihu second, Martin third, Noodles fourth, Gary fifth, Sinek sixth, Flick seventh, ahead of Jay Hartnell, who picks up his best result in a long time, Bruges ninth, Dan 10th, Rabico 11th, followed by Calvin, Callum, Sims, and Big Boy. I think Sims must have picked up a penalty by accident, actually, so he should get back the position of which he had earlier. Big Boy, the last of the finish in 15th place. He nicks the fastest lap from Droftus, so Droftus does not get the point for the fastest lap, unfortunately. Michael classified 16th, despite crashing out. MDG also retiring. Extremist, Reservoir, and Hamster not making it to the checker flag either. So the gap at the top after that sees Droftus take the lead by 17 points. I did say it was 19, but I got my calculations wrong a few laps ago. So it's 17 points between Droftus in the lead and Rabico, who I believe is now in second place on 49 points. Going into the next round of the championship, which will be at Silverstone on the 17th of December, 8:30 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Thank you for joining us. That was a lovely race. Really enjoyed that. And looking forward to more of that at the home of motorsport, that is the British Grand Prix in Northamptonshire, Silverstone. I'm Tom Cairns, and I'll speak to you again soon when the CDR returns.